and welcome to another Godzilla review. Well, technically it's not a Godzilla review because Godzilla's not in this movie, but you know what I mean. Today we're going to be talking about another kaiju with a massive fan following, Mothra. Like 1956's Rodan, which I reviewed previously, Mothra is a standalone kaiju movie directed by Ishiro Honda, which introduces a new giant monster to the series who would reappear in later films, sometimes as Godzilla's enemy, sometimes as his ally. The 1961 film, titled Mosura in Japanese, tells the story of the discovery of life on a supposedly uninhabitable island. The expedition that goes out to explore the island includes one sketchy character named Nelson, who kidnaps two miniature fairy girls and brings them back to Tokyo as a fancy sideshow exhibit. The girls send a telepathic call for help to Mothra, who is worshipped like a god on their island. Mothra hears their plea, hatches from her egg, and makes her way to their rescue, first as a larva, then as a full-fledged giant moth, letting nothing get in her way. I saw this movie once several years ago, and I remember feeling a little confused because I had already seen Godzilla and Rodan, both of which have some pretty serious, sobering scenes. Everything about Mothra, however, is quite different from its predecessors. This is a light, fun adventure film. It's got some musical numbers, some fantasy sequences, even some physical comedy. There are the obligatory scenes of destruction, but it's not caused by the creature's rage or malevolence. Those ships and city landmarks just happen to be in Mothra's way. The main character, played by Frankie Sakai, is a goofy, bumbly reporter who goes by the nickname Bulldog because of his tenacity in pursuing a story, a tenacity which often gets him in trouble. He's kind of an unlikely hero, a little silly, but I ended up liking him. Bulldog is joined by his savvy photographer colleague and a camera-shy but kindly linguistics expert played by Hiroshi Koizumi, who we last saw in Godzilla Raids Again. These three team up to try to unmask the bad guy, rescue the fairies, and figure out how the giant moth larva is connected to everything. The bad guy, Nelson, is played by Jerry Ito, who's having way too much fun acting like he just stepped off the set of a hammy gangster movie. He starts and ends just about every line with an evil laugh, and if he had a villainous mustache, you know he'd be twirling it. I'd say there's a little touch of King Kong in this movie. A forgotten jungle island inhabited by a primitive culture that worships some sort of giant animal, an exploration team helmed by a showman in pursuit of live specimens to exploit in a bombastic public exhibition. The twin fairies are played by a Japanese pop duo known as the Peanuts, Yumi and Emi Ito. The girls sing a number of songs composed by Yuji Koseki, chief of which is the Mosura song they perform in their Tokyo stage debut, which no one in the audience realizes is actually their call for help. It's a beautiful song. I love the way their voices blend in unison and in harmony. It's also incredibly catchy. I've had it going through my head for a week now. But the real unlikely hero of the story, or should I say heroine, is Mothra herself, the first prominent female kaiju. Instead of being a prehistoric, dinosaur-like monster awakened by atomic testing, it's implied that Mothra is an ancient deity who breaks out of her shell to serve a single purpose, rescuing these two girls. And in another new twist, the movie doesn't end with her death. Mothra has a lot going for it. The special effects still hold up pretty well, both the suitmation techniques to make Mothra move and the green screen effects with the mini fairies. It's got a lively, engaging story and characters, the music is nice, and unlike in Godzilla Raids Again, most of the humor works. If you're watching the original Japanese version, you do have to read the subtitles pretty fast if you want to catch all the dialogue. But I think it's worth it to watch the original, which is about 10 minutes longer, and I've heard the American edit cut out a good deal of the funny parts, which I would think must change the tone of the movie quite a lot. Anyway, those are my thoughts on Mothra. This is one of those movies that I'm glad I saw again because I liked it better the second time around. I hope you enjoyed this review and that you'll stay tuned for my next Godzilla video, in which we'll talk about Japan's favorite monster fighting someone who I briefly mentioned in this video. Thanks for watching!